Hey guys. So tonight I thought I would spill a little bit of my own tea. Mm. So anyway, I know a lot of my subscribers gonna go back and watch the replay, so I'm gonna just jump right in. Um my daughter decided 2 months ago to leave her abusive grandmother's home on her own because her mother did. We went when I was in Georgia and she was with me. We went down to all the courts in DeKalb County because she was staying in DeKalb County with her grandmother. So the court that decided to grant the guardianship was in Fulton County, but they said they had no jurisdiction. So we went, being that she stayed in DeKalb County now. So we went to the DeKalb County court, me and her, and she, told the I guess that's the intake worker for Fulton County. I mean, not Fulton County, DeKalb County DFACS, which is CPS, that she wanted to return home. And she told her she could not return her home because they were not the governing court that did it. So she decided to go to Fulton County court and see if she can get them to go ahead and grant her to come back home. Fulton County Court, and I quote, is what this lady said to her. She looked at her up and down with the most disgusting face that she can find, very unprofessional, and said, she's not old enough. I don't care how old she is. She is not old enough to say whether or not she wants to go home. So my daughter was about to fight the lady. So we then left. We took a copy of the court order with us because we wasn't given a copy of the court order. Well, she wasn't, of course, because she was a minor, but I wasn't given a copy of the court order. Neither, from my understanding, was my mother, but I doubt it. Um, so I went and got a copy of the court order, which entitled me to all of my parental rights. Defects release their custody of her. And my child's father has no parental rights. And they actually say in the court order that's signed by a judge that they don't know his whereabouts, nor if he's the father. So I'm like, okay. And it states this in black and white. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I told my daughter, I said, well, that's it. You know, um, they basically do not want to return you home the legal way. And she told me I cannot put in a petition for court. I cannot do anything basically because of the guardianship. And that's all that was said. When I asked the court, the clerk, why couldn't I put in a petition? I was informed that I couldn't put in a petition because I had no parental rights. So I read to her the court order, and she looked at the court order, read it back to me verbatim, and said, I'm not an attorney, and closed the window. No, she said, I'm not an attorney. You have to call the pro bono's Atlanta legal aid office. And then she closed the window. So my daughter then decided, she said, well, mom, if I can't go with you and I don't want to go back to that house, um, because my daughter was SA'd at that house. She was called numerous names. And they have CPS cases um on my mother, and all of the cases were inconclusive. All of them. Like they were not what do you call I wouldn't call it guilty or anything, because with CPS it's not guilty or innocent, but they were not like unfounded. They were inconclusive. And the last CPS case, when she came here last time and ran away from home, from my mother's house, she what can I say? She went to make a CPS case and make a police report about her being SA'd at the house of my mother, knowing that she had been SA'd because she had been in the opposite room. And they decided, like, that's why I said we went around to the courts, because they decided to ask my daughter if she wanted to close the case, because the detectives said they didn't believe her. Because how could they believe a child that had said her parents neglected her and abused her, but then, now she's going back and says she was SA'd. So they didn't want to believe her, but they also didn't want to remove her from the home. So she in turn decided upon herself to leave. She said, because if I can't go with you and I can't go back to that house, I can't. I'm gonna leave. So she decided to leave. Do I know her whereabouts? I do. I do know her whereabouts. I do know she is safe where she is. I do know that she is attending school. She's in a better place than some person who the person that SA'd her was my uncle, and my mother continues to have a conversation with him. So she said, I don't feel like that's a safe space for me. And I don't feel like she's going to do anything about it, because she doesn't even believe it happened. So I'm not going back there. It's real sad, because I know there's more to that story that lets on. And if anybody comes in the comments and say, well, why did you um do guardianship with your mother? Well, I did guardianship with my mother because at the time they had it strictly in supposed to be in the court order that she was not allowed to have any men staying with her. She completely left that out of the court order and decided to do what she wanted to do. Um and they called an emergency hearing. So I wasn't even at the court. Yeah, there's a lot that went on with this court order. I wasn't even at the court. I wasn't notified of the court emergency court hearing. My attorney wasn't even informed of the emergency court hearing. They lied to get the emergency court hearing. They said I fled and went to South Carolina, when in turn I was actually had documentation that I was working in Minnesota, in which at the last court date that we had previous to the final court order, um I told them that I was going to be moving and working in Minnesota. So that is why I did the court order for my daughter to have guardianship with her grandmother, being on the stipulations that she would not have any men staying with her. Um, I would have unlimited visitation with my daughter, which they did grant me. Like I said, I I have unlimited visitation with my daughter, and I have all of my parental rights. They did not. They stated it as they did not terminate my prenatal right, my prenatal, my parental right, and that I was a relative that was willing and able to provide. Um, and like I said, so we had all these stipulations set out before we got to the final court date, but there was so much corruption in this court case that she called an emergency hearing, and she got the emergency hearing done with them lying and saying I fled to South Carolina. And basically they made it look like I abandoned my child so that they could get the court order signed without the stipulations of her not having a male presence in the home. Um Also, like I said, my attorney was not informed, so they used a previous attorney that was not my attorney at the present time to sign as my acting attorney. And he did not inform my attorney until after they signed it. Like I said, CPS decided to release all custody and all knowing of Nevaeh in the court order. Um, so it's basically almost like my mother got to do whatever she wanted to do. And my mother was a known alcoholic. She had 16 CPS cases, and I could not um, take her with me. They would not allow it because they were saying that my daughter was still saying that she was afraid to come home, but her siblings were fine, which made no sense to me. Um, that's normally not how it's done. Um, it's against policy. It's against, it's not really against the law for them to do, but it is against policy that you sign to. Normally, what they do is once they release majority of the kids, they release all of the kids, but they did not do this. So it was a lot of corruption with this case, and what I'm getting at is with all of this, my mother knew what she could do and what she couldn't do. So I believe my mother knew what she was doing when my daughter got assaulted. Um, I would hate to say that she actually, probably played a part in it. I don't want to say that, but my mother came from that kind of home. Like my father met my mother that way. So, yeah, it's just one trauma to another trauma. But anyway, my daughter decided to leave, and she got on a bus and she left. Like I said, I know exactly, where she is. I know when she left. I know um how she left and everything. But I'm not going to disclose that because her father, her piece of shit father, his name is Michael Jones. He decided that he doesn't care that she was essayed at this home. He doesn't care that she was abused um numerous times. Um she was called during this abuse from him, and he told her that's good for her. Yeah. So that piece of shit, is looking for her to go back to that. And he said the reason is he wants to do this to her because I didn't choose to stay with him when I was 16. He only gave me, which he groomed me, but he only gave me her because he thought that would entrap me at 16 years old. So, yeah, he doesn't care what happens to her at all. And so she realizing this, that's another trauma. So she doesn't um want to give out any information as to where she is, and I don't either. Because I know she is safe and she's with family. But like I said, yeah, that is the story on why she ran away. And like I said, I would give y'all more details as to where she is, but all I can say is that I know exactly where she is. I know what school she's going to. I know what her school schedule looks like, but I am not going to give out that information because there's people that would rather see my daughter SA'd. I'm not going to say the word, and possibly kidnapped and killed, because there was numerous times she ran away while she was staying with her grandmother, and she ran away to her boyfriend's house. um that's one of the reasons why the school that she is presently in assisted with this what it's almost like a DV case. It's the same thing. They assisted with her escape because now people are looking for her. Like, he came so far as to search my TikTok and get on my TikTok and tell me, "Oh, you dumb B. Why did you do that? They're just going to come down there and they're going to take her from you again." What? Hold on, y'all. Is it out? Yeah. So, he went as far as to say that I would go to jail and they would lock me up if they found out that she was with me. And I was just like, you would think that a father would want his child to be in a safe predicament, in a safe environment. But I'm telling you, if I can show y'all the messages, actually, I might put them up. I might post them up. I might be that embarrassing because that's how much of a piece of crap he is. Like, and it's so sad because I'm pretty sure my daughter is not the only one that CPS has thrown into a bad environment and just left the child there. Just left her there. Or left him there. Because boys can be SA just as much as girls can. So it just amazed me. Anyways, but yeah, she is doing well. Um, she is in the choir. Um, so again, she's in the chorus again. So yeah, she is doing very well. And she doesn't have to worry about abuse. She doesn't have to worry about being kicked out at 5 a.m. Um, and then coming home and having to pee on yourself, literally urinate on yourself because someone thinks it's funny not to answer the door. Or you coming home from school and nobody's home. So you're left out there all by yourself. And if you ask, well, why didn't you do anything? I've tried. Like I said, she had a CPS case, not only from when she ran away and came here, but she also had a CPS case before that. And the person seen the locks on the doors from the outside, took pictures of it, put it in a file, and decided that the child was fine. The child was the case was inconclusive. And they said, "Oh, well, we're going to start services for you and your grandmother, like counseling and things like that." And they started nothing. So yeah. It's ridiculous. So when I see a lot of people, you know, on the internet and they're calling CPS on certain people that do not deserve to have CPS called on them, it upsets me. It really does. Because CPS is not someone that is going to look out for the child. I've seen it with my own eyes. They do not look out for the child. They do not think about the child's well being. Instead, they look at the child as if it is a government assisted item. Where can the government benefit from this item? Not as a person, as a thing. And I mean, I've seen, don't get me wrong, all of them is not like that. Because I've had this previously put on me way before my daughter was even, put into this situation. And the case was unfounded by a CPS worker who then told me, I can see through it all when I walk through the door. So I'm not saying all social workers are like that, but I'm saying the new ones, the ones that you can almost tell by the way they walk, the way they talk, yeah, they're not looking out for the child. Instead, they're looking out for this government assistance. Red flag number one is when they come up and they don't like try to see what was the situation. Instead, they want to play the blame game. Well, this is your allegations. Well, this and this was said. They don't want to see the other side. And that's how it is throughout the whole thing. They don't want to see the other side. Like what happened? So my mother decided she was gonna call way before, like I said, way before this happened. Call CPS because she felt that my daughter had been punched in the nose by her father. Really, really. This man is 6 foot tall. He wears a size 13 shoe. So she said he punched her in the nose and then we rushed to the hospital. Okay. So the CPS worker gets this case. This is all from a documented CPS social worker. in DeKalb County. She gets the case. She said she goes down to the school because she's like, what type of mother? This happened the next day, by the way. She said, what type of mother would send her child to the school after she just been punched in the nose and rushed to the hospital? Why would you send her to the school the next day? So she said she went down to the school. She asked my daughter. She visibly seen my daughter. She said she looked in her nose. She looked all on her face. She had no bruises. She asked her alone by herself, Are you afraid? Are you afraid of anybody in your home? Your mom will never know this conversation because I didn't. I didn't know this conversation happened. The social worker had to tell me it happened. She said, Are you afraid? She said, No, I'm not afraid to go home. She said, Are you afraid of your stepfather? She said, No, I'm not afraid of my stepfather. She said, Right then, I knew it was bullshit. She still followed through with her investigation. She came out, she looked at my home. She took pictures. She did all the normal things. Only thing she came up with was the fact that my son did not have a bed at 2 years old. That was it. He had a crib, but he did not have a bed at 2 years old. So she was like, he can't stay in the crib because he's too big. She, in turn, went and got him a bed. That's what they're meant to do. They're meant to try to keep your family together. She said, now, if you have any other needs, such as you need me to look at your Medicaid case, do you need me to look at your food stamp case, any other type of needs that has to do with social service, I can help. I said, yes, I need you to help me with my food stamps. Because someone, and I'm pretty sure it was her, someone told them I was getting, I think, $300 a week in child support. I said, I wish. I wish. The lady looked at my child support case because it was court ordered because that was the only way he would pay it. She looked at my child support case. She said, Child, I'm surprised you even barely holding on to this thing. There's months where he paid $30, maybe in 1 week. There's another month where he'll pay $10 in another week. She said, There's weeks and weeks on here he doesn't pay anything. She said, But I'm going to go ahead and reinstate your food stamps. I said, Thank you. Because I know that there is some good people in the social service. That's the only reason why I say what I say about it's not about, the CPS. It's about who is working. And most of these social workers are now looking at how can I benefit from this case instead of looking at it as how the child can benefit from the case. Now I have a child that is traumatized, and she was traumatized for 7 years. And no, I did not know a lot of this was going on. Like I said, the things that I heard and the things that I knew about, I called and nobody answered. But now, like I said, now she's in a safe place. She chose to go to that place by herself. And I'm so grateful to God. She made it there safely. And I hope she continues to be there. until she gets well of age and she can, maybe in some years of counseling move on from all of that trauma. Because I know she is. She's traumatized. And it hurts so bad to know, as a parent, you did everything you could to get your child from being in that situation, and the system did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. But this is the same system that allowed a mother to go home and put Fulton County and put her child in the oven while the 8-year-old sat there and held it. Same system. Same system awarded the grandmother custody after the father fought hard for his child. And the grandmother was awarded custody and she beat the child to death. Fulton County. Y'all can look it up. These are facts. She punched the child in the stomach until the child had internal bleeding. Same system. The father was awarded, I think 1 million, 2 billion. I don't know what it was, but it was a lot of money he won from the Supreme Court because he fought for his child and they would not let his child come home with him, all because they found marijuana in his system. When they have programs for that, they have what we call rehab or whatever, outpatient, whatever. They have counseling for that. But instead, they let the child go home with the grandmother who beat the child to death, literally after being awarded full custody. It said no more than a day after. Same system. And did my mother give a fuck? Hell no, because you know why? Soon as she got that, what was it? And a lot of people say don't think about the money and stuff like that. But this is what the fuck it looked like. She went and got a brand new 2019 um Dodge Journey with her first foster care check. Numerous court documents that we have says that the grandmother is putting the children's clothes in a shed. The grandmother is sending the children home. I mean, sending the children not home to school with dirt on the clothes, holes in the clothes, bleach stains. The child is going to school numerous times with her hair unkept, with her body odor. And the whole time CPS is paying for her rent, her lights, her water. So it's no reason why that my child had to go to school like that. And the judge still awarded this emergency hearing to her. Mm, 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 mm. Um, the judge name was Miss Phillips, Judge Phillips, and I mean, if any of my supporters know anybody in the judicial system that you can make a complaint, let me know because I definitely need to make one. Because it's now 7 years later. And like I said, my daughter has been SA'd. She has been physically and mentally abused by her grandmother. And like I said, did I fight for my child? Yes. Did I come out and ask her for my child back? Yes. Each time I was told, no, they not gonna let her come up in there. Why? Because this is the same statistical bitch that sit up there and collect food stamps and collect welfare, and she don't care. She don't care if the damn child today, she'll hide the body in the back seat of the car and tell them, I don't know, she's just out there. Oh, and by the way, the reason why my child's father still would not let her come back after all of the reports and stuff that he asked for, like he was a good parent, um, he said it's because she, like I said, she deserves it because she's bad. He said, and on top of that, she has his child support, my mother, and he would prefer that my mother get the child support than me. I told him I don't want the child support. Now, nobody should be getting it, but I'm pretty sure she's still getting it. But nobody should be getting it, and I still don't fucking want it. I still don't want it. Or whoever she's with doesn't want it either. I could have got it because, I'm the parent. And who she's with is not a parent of her. They are a parent, but they're not a parent of her. But I don't nobody want that shit. Cause like I said, you didn't even fucking pay it. You didn't pay it. You didn't pay attention to it. Only time he paid is when they told him he was going to jail. That was it. And that's when he'll pay his little $10, $32. Meanwhile, I thought this man was making like, $200 a week or something. No, this nigga's making $1,500 a week. That's a lot of money. If you do the math, it's over $6,000 a month. And oh, by the way, if y'all say, well, he has bills and no, he's I think he's 40 something, 48, 46, something like that. Yeah, he's old. And he's staying with his aunt. So he doesn't pay any rent. And then if y'all say, well, he has car insurance. No, that was the thing. He would rather have his license get suspended and he drive his aunt car than to actually pay his child support. So that wasn't it either. But that was my little rant. I'm sorry, guys. That's gonna do it for this video. I've been on here for 40 minutes. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you hit the like button, and if you're new, please consider hitting the subscribe button, especially if you want to hear, who knows, maybe down the line she'll pop up because she's close. She's not that close, but she's close. So maybe she'll pop up and maybe you guys will see her and you could ask her yourselves, how are things and how has she been? Like I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.